In fact, it's going to be quite simple. The main thing we're going to do is redirect the user to the profile page. So let's take a look at the mock-up. There's a mock-up for this. It's right here. So this is the profile page we had back here, just basically with an avatar and a name. And then there's one extra element, which is this greeting here at the top, welcome to the sample app. So after a successful registration, we want the user to be redirected to the profile page with this sort of message. So the first part is really easy. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look first at what happens if we actually do submit valid information. So let's try this. So this is valid. Let's see what happens. See if you can guess. So what happened here is that we got an error because Rails is trying to find a create template. So what's going on here is the submission came in, the user got created using the parameters, and now instead of failing, this @user.save actually succeeded. In fact, we can even look. User.count is now 1, which is an indication that we'll probably want to reset the database. But this is the sort of thing that actually created the user. So in a sense, this form does work right now. But in this line, what's happened is the save succeeded, so this is true. And by default, Rails is trying to render a template with the same name as the action, in this case, a create template, but that doesn't exist. And the usual convention in Rails, and indeed in web development generally, is to redirect upon successful sign-up. So we can do that here using redirect to. Now, one of the things we can do here is we can put in the URL for the user. That's the user path. Actually, remember, for a redirect, we actually need a fully qualified URL. User path would probably work, but the HTTP standard requires this. User URL, and then the user. And since we're going to reset the database anyway, let's just put in another valid one. Let's try another valid sign up. So that actually worked. This is now a working sign-up form. So there's only one thing left to do, which is to get that little message to work, this thing here. But there is one refinement I want to do before moving on to that, which is that this is not idiomatically correct Rails. Like, this is going to work. This is the user URL, which is just the profile URL, in this case, /user/2. But in Rails, you can actually omit this part here. You can just say redirect to @user, and Rails infers from context that what we want to do here is redirect to the user's profile page, or in this case /user/1 or /user/2. So in other words, this is equivalent to this. Try one more time. You can see that's the same thing. By the way, if you find this sort of resubmission of the form cumbersome and think, boy, it sure would be nice to have a test for that, yeah, I agree, and we'll be doing that in this section.